Jai Gurudev and welcome to our fourth podcast, which is very exciting on Echoes from Sankhya. And today I am with Supriya again, and we will be exploring the next aspect of Moolaprkrithi. And this is going to be very, very exciting. Yeah.
Jai Gurudev. So, in our last podcast, we explored the number 7, and in this one, we're going to explore number 16, which is just as fascinating.
Yes, 16 is very important. Take the phases of the moon, exactly 16 phases of the moon. Then you take, for example, the 16 colors of Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. It describes what makes a perfect human being. You take the 16 sanskars of Santana Dharma, the 16 stages of a life of an individual. In Shodadasha Upachara Vidhi, we have 16 offerings that we make while doing a puja. So let's explore 16 now.
You remember in my very first episode, we talked about simultaneous claps and
Yes.
sequential claps.
Yeah.
This is why I mentioned that in the first episode, for us to understand Prakriti and Avikriti. Yeah. Because
Right.
when Prakriti happens from Moolaprkrithi, it is superpositioning.
Hmm.
Therefore, you don't add the two, you multiply the two.
Oh, okay. So it suggests something really different about how energy or states combine at this base level.
It really does. And it's not simply adding up. It's more like potentiation. It's like something getting exponentially, it becomes bigger. It's not just the sum, it's the
Right.
product, you know. So that is one. So one outcome is superposition. The other outcome can be sequential over time.
Okay. Hmm.
But
Okay, that's
if it is
interesting.
unbalanced, yeah. So if it is perfectly balanced, you get superpositioning. But if it's unbalanced, the sutra says that the nodes, you remember the stationary points on a
Yeah.
string which is, oscillating. The
Hmm.
stationary points actually start to shift and they move towards that lower value. So when they are not balanced, the entire shift will be towards the lower value. So this is what I discussed last time. What was Gurutvakarshana?
Oh,
Gravity is nothing but that drift. When imbalance happens, when the Vikaro happens, the imbalance happens, sooner or later, those nodes will start to drift towards lower and lower and lower values. That's why we get attracted to people because they are, their frequency is a more stable, lower frequency. We are fluttering all over the place. Let's see, we are in a hyper state, and then you need somebody. You're attracted to somebody who can calm you down. It's the same
hmm.
philosophy. It works in every walk of life and in every aspect of creation. So it is important to know that if it is unbalanced, the sutra says nodes, those stationary points, they actually shift and they shift
Hmm.
towards the state that has a lower value.
Okay, that's just absolutely fascinating. So an imbalance literally causes a structural shift, like the stable points move. That's like stress causing a change in form.
It is. It is. It's a very dynamic picture of what happens. And then the sutra explains how a collision, say, along one axis, can increase this rate of change. For instance, the fundamental state changing from 1 to 2. So you have got 1 unit changing to 2 units. If it collides along the axis, then the resulting product will be not, it will be 2 times 2, which is 4.
Oh, okay. So, so the interaction along an axis can lead to a kind of geometric progression. One to two, then interaction makes it four.
It seems so. Now, this is where the idea of a threshold becomes really important, Supriya, because even though you get the value of 4 from this interaction,
Mhm.
the source reminds us that the total captive value of the system of those 7 nodal levels that we talked about, it has to be 8.
All right.
4 is still less than 8. This level of activity, in this level of activity, the value of 4 isn't enough to actually break free from that captive state, that superposition state. It can't radiate or move away from the system center yet. So
Oh,
1 becomes 2 and 2 into 2 becomes 4. Yes, it is still a product, but it's still less than 8. So it has to be bigger than 8 if something has to happen.
oh, so you're saying hitting 4 is a step up. It's significant, but it's still kind of contained within the core structure, is it?
Exactly. It's
Okay.
like the level of stability. It's like a level of stability. It is still, but within that captive system. The source, the sutra says that the next significant level is reached when either one axis or synchronization of two axes reaches the nodal level of 4.
Okay. So you get something from hitting 4, and then what?
Then you can have two adjoining states, each at the value of 4, interacting. Therefore, you have two 4s interacting.
Right. Okay. Let me guess. Using that weird rule, it's like 4 plus 4 is 8. It's actually 4 times 4, which is 16.
Spot on, Supriya, spot on. So this interaction, when they go to 4, so 1 becomes 2, then the next doubling is 4. When that happens, what happens to the entire harmonic? It's not 4 plus 4, it is 4 into 4, which is 16. Now, even at 16, the state can actually remain stable if it separates into balanced 8 plus 8. So, if that 16 separates into 8 and 8, it will still remain balanced.
Okay. Got it. So
But
16 is that. Yeah. Sorry.
yes, yeah, but that maintains a stable cycle just at a higher level of activity.
All right. So 16 itself can still be a part of a stable contained structure, is it?
Yes, provided that it separates into 8 and 8. You see, that there is a rider there. What Rishi Kapila is saying is, we understood this eightfold increment, where we are talking about the volumetric.
Hmm.
After the volumetric has happened, now along each axis, he is talking about the doubling. So when 1 becomes 2 and 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 16. But if that 16 splits back into 8 and 8, nothing happens. But
Hmm.
if it doesn't separate evenly, then here anything that happens after 16, then the movement starts away from the center. It is no more in a stable configuration. The Prakriti, Vikriti, Avikriti is over, and now starts the Vikaro. The moment it reaches 16 and something more than that, up to 16, we can still have a stable configuration. But the moment it crosses 16, then you have the Vikaro state where everything starts to radiate, which means up to here, only the structure, internal structure was being formed. And now manifestation happens, and that is the number 16.
Wow. Okay. So 16 is the magic number, the threshold.
Yeah, it is presented exactly like that because once the 16 happens, then the radiation, vibrations, outer propagation. This is now we can actually start to see something manifesting. That's how creation happens according to Rishi Kapila.
Oh my God. That's remarkably specific. From undetectable perfect balance to the specific harmonic levels, interactions where addition means multiplication. building up these levels of activity and only hitting this tipping point at exactly 16 for radiation to even begin. It's like a mathematical recipe for emergence.
Yes. So, from something completely undetectable, the Moolaprkrithi oscillating perfectly in harmony,
Then, through specific harmonic levels, these sudden captive levels,
with these strange, really strange interactive rules like superpositioning, making things multiply,
governed by precise mathematical rules for how structures can build stably.
all leading up to this critical threshold, the number 16, where things finally get enough energy, let's say, to radiate outwards.
It provides this comprehensive, albeit abstract model for the fundamental architecture of existence. At least as seen through this specific philosophical lens.
Yes, it's quite a system. And Supriya, you're an art of living teacher, right? Let's look at the magic of 16. How do you give the counts for Sudarshan Kriya?
It's breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2.
So,
So
total
4,
that?
4, 4, 4, 6, 2. That's 16. Oh,
Exactly. Yeah. So this is why. See, so what is Gurudev doing when we are doing pranayam in Sudarshan Kriya? Yeah. He is taking us to that 16th state where he builds the structure the way we want our reality to be. He builds that structure. And from there, the emanation will happen, which means you will manifest your reality. This is there in the Sankhya Sutras.
that's just mind blowing. It's absolute. Yeah. It's just, something so amazing. Yeah. What a journey, really. Just to recap key points, we started with the non-detectable mūlaprkrithi, then the emergence of oscillatory spectrum prakriti, and its stable form avikṛtir.
And then that unique rule explaining 7 nodal levels derived from 2 cubed minus 1.
Right. And the mind-bending interaction rules, superposition, yielding products, balance, division versus node-shifting imbalance.
And the critical stability, thresholds building up, culminating in that really significant number 16 as the point where radiation begins. It's a whole package, Supriya, describing these principles right from the absolute core starting point.
Absolutely. So maybe here's a final provocative thought for you to mull on. Isn't it striking how this ancient tradition describes the universe using concepts that, resonate with that we grapple with in, modern physics?
Like fundamental oscillations, harmonic frequencies, critical thresholds, mathematical rules or axioms for aggregation.
Exactly. Like, could this framework in its own way be an intuitive, maybe an early symbolic description of universal principles? Does it highlight the timeless human quest to understand the universe's deepest codes, its blueprint?
It makes you wonder, Supriya, what other patterns may be in the cosmos or even complex systems closer to home. When we talk about this, when we talk about development of an egg, in the animal kingdom, uh, from the single cell stage, there is a very critical stage called the 16 cell stage. And till that 16 cell stage, there is no differentiation. It's just the same cell. The moment it crosses 16, differentiation happens. So at every level of creation, you will find this, whether it's our Sudarshan Kriya, whether it is cytology, cell biology, whether it is quantum physics, you will find this 16, that's number 7 and number 16. And that's what the sutra deals with. The sutra talks about this particular 7 and 16. It is just so incredible, so incredible. Thank you so much, Supriya, for being a part of this podcast. And, I really enjoyed doing this and getting so many new insights into Sankhya Karika through this podcast.
Thank you so much, Prabhakar. This is just beautiful, and two more podcasts like this. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Look forward to that. Thank you so much. Jai Gurudev.